Okay, so technical difficulties. My usual streaming software is not functional, so I'm not sure about my microphone. I am going to be checking settings and hey, Stephen, bear with me for a minute. I am not 100% sure you can hear me. Okay, good. Thank you for letting me know that. Uh, I had updated my usual streaming software, and when I tried to actually go live, it told me that my graphics drivers weren't supported and I had to update them. So, um, moving the microphone closer. Um, so I shut down the scheduled stream and switched up real fast. So hopefully this will work. Hi Ben. I was getting all slick and everything. I had it set up so that I could switch the screen from looking at me to looking at my hands so that I could draw and talk to you guys at the same time. But see, this is what happens when I try to get complicated. Um, so I don't know why it was having an issue, and I will figure out later why it wants me to update my drivers. Um, in the meantime, I can so right. Well, I mean, things are usually weird around here, but weirder. Yes, new glasses. The rimless glasses that I had before were having some issues with the coating. The coating was starting to chip and peel, especially on the edge of the lenses right around. And I have really strong vision correction. So I decided that I had to go to rimmed glasses, and if I was going to embrace the look, I might as well go all the way and do the cat eye and everything. Um, hey, Maranatha, I'm glad you could join us. Are you still in Minnesota? Um, no, I've got new glasses and the webcam is set up so I'm not actually looking at it, which, sorry, realize my gaze is off, but um, yeah, it's so um, I had plans all week. I was like, Friday after work, I'm going to do this and that and the other time. Um, and then today, after I logged out from work, I was like, I have no motivation. I don't want to do anything. So I wound up taking a nap, which was really nice. And then my son called me. He'd been over to mow the lawn for friends. So he was in town in Ichipa, and he called me and he's like, "Hey, there was this great yard sale about a block away from our friend's house, and they had all this 1950s stuff in it." So I'm like, "Okay, I will go do this." And so I show up, and he's there, and one of our other friends was there, and she scored a basket full of Earl Stanley Gardeners. So I'm going to have to borrow some of those from her because it's not that Perry Mason cases are good, it's that they're so awful. And so, yeah, but the kiddo picked out a whole bunch of, there was some really old books in this yard sale. And he was like, "Oh, this is interesting and that's interesting." And I'm like, "Fine, I will buy you books because usually you're not that interested in paper books." And of course, what I've got sitting here on the desk is not any of the strange old books that he picked up because he found books that are from a 1957 symposium at a college of ceramics. Literally, it is a college of ceramics, and they're on solid state diffusion, and there's a bunch of them. They're all bound into this huge old thing. It's not a proper book. I don't know how to describe it. He decided that since he's going to do welding and then he's interested in taking that further than the associates and going into material science, he decided that he had to buy these old symposium books, 2 books on radio. And when I say radio, one of them is simply called Radio, and it looks like it dates back to the 1930s. I haven't yet taken a look at it to decide, but that's about the vintage of everything else that we picked up today was 1930s. And then the other thing that he grabbed for some, I don't even know, is there was a folder of blueprints. I'm guessing that this guy was some kind of, he did ceramics, but these blueprints, I didn't look at them. He was leafing through and reading names off the blueprints, and he was telling me that it was like blueprints of cooling vanes. And I'm like, okay, kid, it's your money, because it was his lawn mowing money he was spending. And the other thing that he did is because he mowed like 3 lawns today, so he had money in his pocket that was evidently burning a hole in his pocket. So he bought himself an adding machine. If you've seen a manual typewriter, imagine a manual typewriter sized calculator adding machine. He's like, it needs to be rebuilt a little bit. And I'm like, okay. Okay. I mean, if he wants to spend some time rebuilding vintage things, I'm fine with this. It's just like, sometimes the child gets a bug in his brain, and I don't know where he's going with this. I mean, I get the pleasure of introducing this is definitely old school, no electric about it, Dawn. So, yeah, no, it is a nice haul. I mean, I'm pleased that he decided he was going to do these things. Now I just need to make sure that he isn't just like, ooh, shiny, and then squirrels them away and never does anything with them again, because they're fun. He should do something with them. Yeah, I'm sitting here with stacks of books on my desk. And the funny thing is that I have the new bookshelves, and I've managed to find homes for all of the bookshelves, although one of them is now an art supplies cabinet. And the shelves are not full by any stretch of the imagination, because I wound up with more bookshelves than I had planned on. So I was like, I can buy books, and I did. Although, to be fair, I mean, that's not, I did buy it, but it's not old. It's got my drawings in it and other people's stories. And the suicidal deer story is in this one, for those of you that are familiar with that story and didn't know it was in there. And then the other thing that I did that was weird was I went to the library writing group. And hi, Becky. And it was kind of fun because, I mean, it was a small group. I'm told that there's usually more people there, but it was Jim and Law Dog and myself and 3 ladies, all of whom I sort of knew a little bit. But I walked in, and Amy, the librarian, handed me my author's copy of Haunted Libraries. So now I have to add this to my I Love Me shelf. That'll be a couple of extras for the I Love Me shelf. And this was on my desk already, because I am going to, here, I'll do this page. That way you can see. I am going to, is it mirrored? Can you guys even read that? That is a very good question. I don't know the answer to this, because it looks mirrored to me. If it is, I have no idea how to fix that. Interesting. But this one, I'm going to do a blog post on reading and its connection to writing. That's tomorrow morning for Mad Genius. So, okay, thank you, Ray. I'm glad to hear that, because I'm like, So I was a bad woman today. I found out that my friend Jason Fleming, who we all call Deej, um, had not yet been to the Alley Cat, which is this huge 3-story industrial building that has been converted to an antiques mall in Ichipa. And I try to go to Alley Cat somewhat regularly because antique mall and there's several booths that have old books. So I wanted to figure out if there was still a book that was I had seen. I've seen it at least twice now, and every time I've looked at it and I've gone, that would be really interesting for research. And the price was making me go, well, I had decided that if it was still there, I was going to get it. And as it happens, it was on sale. So I picked this up because this just tickled me of this idea of using this lady's story to do some research and possibly use it for settings for a story. Well, I don't know that I want to do a full-on historical, but I don't know. It just there's something about this that just drew me in, and I wanted to buy it and use it for research. It is the Journal of Anne Rainey Coleman, and this one was published in. Good question. It does not say. But it was originally sold not here in the US but in England because the cost in the inside cover is £2.50. So yeah, this one does look really interesting, and I'm looking forward to reading it and possibly using it as research. I added to my pulp collection a little bit with a Ian Fleming, which just has the strangest cover. I'm like, honestly, what were they thinking with some of these 1970s covers? I don't get it. I think I mean I know I've read this one, as probably as well as seeing the movie. I still haven't seen all of the James Bond movies, but I have read all of them, and I don't think this is really connected to the story, but I could be misremembering, so we'll see. Um, and then the cookbook of the day, because why not? I mean, this one was 75 cents, so um, and I figured it would be nice because I have like Julia Child's French Cooking, 1976. So the Bond book, yes, that is the first time in paperback, so it would have been the original cover for that. So this is 1976, and I thought it would be a nice antidote to I've got Julia Child's book on French cooking. This one does not focus on French cooking, so there should be some recipes in there that are going to be interesting. I've been having fun. If you saw the oh, right. That I do. I definitely remember The Toxic Garden. Oh gosh, that's been ages since I read that. Goody. I haven't read that long enough. It'll be like reading it new again. Um, so if you saw my blog earlier this week with the Revolutionary War chicken, what I have been trying to do is hand some of my vintage cookbooks to Stanford along with a packet of post-it notes and suggesting that he goes through here and picks out recipes that he likes. There will be no gelatin because the man has a horror of gelatin because he lived through the 1970s. So we don't do gelatin food. And my finds of the day, well, actually, technically, Deej found this first. And then I was like, that's a really good price, and I like Lee Brackett. And the cover is not spectacular, but it's still quirky. And why not for that price? Because, I mean, even if I wind up just going through it and and possibly hanging it on the wall. And you know what? I'm going to take it out of the plastic. There we go. You should be get a better look of it then. So y'all are getting to tour my bookstore haul for the day. I'm finding the ad on the back kind of interesting as well. So this is from before my mother was born. So it's, yes, and it's got some interesting stuff in it. Um, Last Call from Sector 9G says it's a novel of the Bitter Star by Lee Brackett. And it does appear to be, oh wow, I love the illustrations in these. They're so awesome. The cover's coming off of it. I'm going to have to handle this carefully. But these are great. And kind of, I mean, the illustrations inspire me. I am becoming, I've noticed, a little bit more comic book in some of my illustrations, probably because I've spent enough time at this point looking at them. But along with the 1955 Planet stories, I also picked up another Lee Brackett, which, because, I mean, again, with that price for the first edition, I was like, why not? Deej was like, Lee Brackett's not really collectible. And I don't care. I enjoy her stuff. So we've had a conversation because we were talking about her husband at Hamilton and how Deej enjoys his writing. It's not, he says it's not better than Lee, but he likes the stories better. And so he has actually, through his press, Ichtapop, he's released some of the Ed Hamilton books as ebooks. So I'm going to pick up a couple of those and compare them to the Lee Bracketts. And that should be an interesting read. This one's cover is not terribly inspiring. I kind of like the back better. Just because me, I like old school rocket ships. I mean, I love that SpaceX is doing the retro rocket look. And I realize it has practical reasons, but to me, it just resonates with these old golden age rocket ships. So, but yeah, so it was a good day. I have a stack of books on my desk, which is always fun to go through those and evaluate them, and then I have to organize my library because right now it's a mess. Everything is on shelves now. Step 1. Step 2 will be deciding how to organize it. I mean, fiction, alphabetical by author, usually, except in this case, 2 of the bookshelves that I've been given are very shallow, which is good because where I put them, I need them to be shallow. They're in the dining room. And I just realized I don't know if my son took out the cake out of the oven. I will be right back. As apology for walking away from you, pineapple upside down cake. Yes, sorry about that. The cake has been saved. Johan was supposed to take the cake out of the oven. He had a timer set and everything. And I'm sitting here and talking and realized that I hadn't heard him. That would be a really big pan of cornbread. That is my deep dish chicken fryer. No, he wanted pineapple upside down cake, and we had a pineapple that needed to be used because the fruit flies found it. Um, so I made pineapple upside down cake. Of course, now I have more pineapple upside down cake than the two of us can eat because Sanford doesn't eat cooked pineapple. So I may have to summon the North Texas troublemakers and disperse pineapple upside down cake. Since we're not doing dinner tomorrow night like we usually do, we're meeting up in Oklahoma at a restaurant. And I think they might frown on me showing up bearing cake. So the cake is good. Um, that's a good question, Ray. Usually like a text message. And reading back up on the write what goes on the shelf, don't move anything. That's an interesting idea. I like that. Uh, okay, now that the fox carrying the stick of dynamite, that's trouble coming. Cake might look a little different. I may have to draw that. Um, yes, definitely the trickster fox. Uh, yeah. So cake is out of the oven. We're good. I can relax. But so dinner on Fridays is interesting because of when I do the stream. I don't usually cook this early in the day. Normally, I'm cooking to be eating dinner about 6, and I'm starting the stream at 6. The dinner being bumped back makes it like, okay, this is weird. And I either wind up feeding I either wind up feeding them and then I eat after the stream, or I feed all of us after the stream. I have been asked about more cooking videos, and I do plan to do more cooking videos. May not do them live cooking videos. We'll see about that. But I did order a wireless microphone because this one is obviously fixed in place. And if I do cooking videos using the other camera, a different microphone will be better. So, yeah, Dawn, that's actually what I've been doing. So, one of the topics I was kind of joking around saying that I was going to use for this is that um, and I had, speaking of texts, I had a text saying that my original live stream video is not showing, and because I had technical difficulties. Um, what did I order? I don't remember what I said. I'm you're asking me to remember things I said. I could eventually, when I go back and replay this, I'll probably figure out. Well, I don't usually listen to these. I have to admit, I do not normally go back and play them again. um, I don't remember what I ordered. I will say that speaking of the organization thing, oh, the wireless mic, that's what I was saying. Ah, I don't remember the brand. I'll let you know when I get it because it should be here um, Monday. I think it's supposed to be here Monday. I'm trying to remember. Organization. I bought, don't know what I did with them, but I bought these cool little brass plate things that screw onto whatever, and you put a little piece of paper in them. So they're kind of like the labels you would see on an old school card catalog. And they they're little brass frames, and you screw them onto things, you put a little piece of paper in them, and I am going to label everything that I can possibly label because I bought like 50 of the silly things. So I was thinking that I would label um, cupboards and drawers because I occasionally get complaints from my family, and I have invited friends to come and use my kitchen cooking if they want to cook for the gang and they live too far away to do that practically. And I figured the best way to do this is to do kind of like when I did the 5S on the labs. So do the Kanban, but with a little bit classier labels. Squirrel with a megaphone, is that me? Yes, probably. So Ben, who does that make the Raven? Um, yeah, labeling everything seemed like a logical idea. And if I run out, I might order more because I may also label all the bookshelves. That would be a good way to make it so that if you take something off a shelf, you could put it back again. Not that that's going to happen, but oh, a girl can dream. Uh, well, Jim's here, so okay, Jim's the Raven then. Kind of our Odin. Oh, ouch, Dawn. I'm sorry to hear that. Um, yeah, so I have everything. I have all my books on the shelf, and this last week I spent a considerable amount of time pulling things apart and putting them back together again because what John was saying earlier about not knowing where to find anything has been what's happening with this house. We've been living here for about 6 months now, and things just kind of got put someplace convenient when we were moving everything in. And it turns out that what you thought was convenient or what you thought was going to work when you first move in doesn't always continue to be what works after you've been there for a while. So, like, I have a new desk, and that needed to be um, optimized because I went through not being able to find things twice this last week that were kind of major things that I needed. One of them was the charger for my camera, for my big camera, and I couldn't find my good jewelry making plier set. I still haven't found that, but I did find the camera charger. But basically, I got all of the office supplies in one place, organized them, filled the drawers up on this desk, and now I can find stuff. And this is good. So now I need to do this with other things in the house, which includes trying to get my husband involved in helping me set up the kitchen so that he likes it as well as I like it. Because it's not just my domain. I'm not going to get the boys' input as much. He can deal with it. He's moving out in a couple of years. He's already had a lot of say in where things are anyway, because there's been a few times that he's decided that he's going to put stuff in certain places. Whether or not I wanted it there didn't really matter. So, yes. But, uh, yeah, that doesn't work when you're missing Wednesday and you need to take stuff daily. The the house is slowly coming together, and I feel like we're settling in here. I mean, it's not just getting the bookshelves. I feel like I was able to kind of get things organized so I could find them, and things are under. I moved things. It's stupid stuff like having a dresser on one side of the bedroom. I moved it over to the other side of the bedroom so it's easier for it to be accessed by the person who actually uses it, and little stuff like that. And it's just kind of optimizing the flow. And it's a never ending thing. I mean, I know that we will live here for a while longer and I will move more stuff around because I will finally find the couch that I like and want to buy, however long that's going to take. And the dining room is starting to get set up to the point where it'll be nice to have people over, and I need to start doing midweek meals more often. And yes, Ben, the starting to feel sure that we're not going to be uprooted again is really nice because the last few years have just been, I mean, even when we bought the house in Ohio, we weren't planning on staying there for longer than it took the kid to graduate from high school. So that was a 3 to 5 year plan. We wound up with it for 4 years. So we were on plan with that. But this house, I have promised Sanford that I will not make him move again. They can't see you, honey. They can only see the middle of you. Oh,
Uh, are you done with the oven?
I am done with the oven.
Then I'll turn it off.
Thank you, love. I appreciate that. I pulled the cake out because it needed to come out, but I forgot about turning off the oven. But yeah, it's nice. We can put down roots. I hung curtains. I mean, um, so on the random YouTube algorithm, because man, is it random. Uh, if I'm if I start out watching one video on YouTube, it'll bounce you from that one to another one, which is why I have now been watching YouTube videos on a young couple renovating a stone house. Technically, it was a barn in the Alps in Italy. And the one that amused me was that I discovered that my interior design aesthetic, um, for all that it's not deliberate, it has a name. There is a thing called cottagecore, and evidently that's my aesthetic. I was amused. My sister, who may or may not still be listening, pointed out that this now means that my house is magazine worthy because uh, I don't try, but nonetheless, it's there. Plants and clutter. That's what cottagecore is. And also, evidently, the lace curtains that I picked out fit right in with that. I just picked them out because I didn't want heavy curtains. I wanted to let as much light in as possible while still having a little bit of veil between me and the outside world. Uh, Not that we walk through the public house, part of the house, in less clothing than we would if because we share the house with a child. So, right, and I mean, it's yeah, evidently cottagecore is a big thing. I think that's why YouTube was feeding it to me. And it's certainly more my aesthetic than some of the other stuff that I've seen over the years. Ooh, sourdough bread sounds good. I need to start Little Nugget now that we've settled down enough that I can take care of little sourdough starter. Little Nugget is the sourdough starter that my sister sent me. It's dried, it's in a packet, and I have to reconstitute it and get it going because I can now. I didn't want to do that while I was in the apartment. And I think I know where it is. I think. Oh, one of the things I found while I was moving stuff around for the office was seeds. I had a bunch of seed packets. Why they're in my office supplies? This is me. I mean, uh, don't know, but I found them. I mean, I have a whole stack of clutter here that I need to put into the filing cabinet. I've been slowly getting the filing cabinet to the point where I feel like I can file a bunch of things. Yes, it was a super sketchy thing to mail. Weird white powder in a packet, right? Um, yes, that is entirely possible that it's on the stack of stuff over there waiting to be filed. Um, a semi backed into her semi. Ouch! That does not sound good. Hopefully everybody's okay. I made pork chops for dinner tonight. Johan requested something interesting and very specific, and I wound up making two things of pork chops, two pans. Sanford is not a fan of citrusy food. Just he'll eat it. He'll eat pretty much anything I put in front of him, but he's not keen on it. So I was like, okay, the boy wants me to make lemon basil garlic sauce for the pork chops, which first of all was like a technical how how do I make that into so um I was like, okay, I can do that, but I'm not gonna feed that to Sanford. And yikes, that sounds scary, and I'm really glad nobody was in that. That does not sound good. Um, so I can make the lemon basil pork chops, and we have a package of mushrooms in there, which the boy won't eat. So I did two pans of pork chops, and then I said, okay, pick out side dishes. So he goes rummaging around in the pantry and comes up with he wants creamed corn. Fine, we can do creamed corn and mac and cheese. No, we've done mac and cheese for like the last three meals running. So no more mac and cheese. So we had creamed corn and stuffing and pork chops because because. But the lemon basil garlic sauce was interesting. So what I wound up doing was putting a couple of tablespoons of butter in a pan and getting that melted. And then into that, I squeezed the most of the juice of a lemon. I didn't squeeze it super hard, so probably about 3 tablespoons, roughly, of this lemon, and a couple of small spoonfuls of minced garlic, pre-minced garlic in the jar because I don't always have time to fuss with garlic cloves. And it's a time saver, and why not? I mean, anyhow. So, and then I sent the boy outside to where we actually have a basil plant that's doing okay out there. And I told him bring me back a handful of leaves from the basil. So, and once that was all nice and warmed up, um, I put the pork chops in this little pan with this and realized that I was going to wind up poaching the pork chops. Did you enjoy that?
Yes, it was actually very good.
Yeah, I thought it was good too. He gave me a taste, but
I don't know why you didn't make them all like that.
because Sanford is not keen on citrus, and you aren't keen on mushrooms, so it actually worked out really well to prep two different
I'm
things.
sorry I didn't get the cake my long ago.
I don't know. I just realized I hadn't heard you, so I went and grabbed it real quick.
That's
But it looks like it's fine. So
that's worrisome. My
can you
phone
do me a
alarm-
favor and flip it out of the pan now?
Yeah, my
before it
phone
gets
alarm
too
is
cool?
giving me many issues.
His phone alarm seems to be an issue, so he did wake up the other day when he should have too. So,
Is that gonna get his food?
and yes, Sanford ate. Um, yes, I could have marinated, but it was kind of cooking on the fly. I do that a lot, and where I'm not really thinking about things ahead of time. So I had at one point I had the full stove going, all four burners, getting dinner prepped. But it's funny how you get into these routines with dinner, and we try to meal plan because when we don't, then we wind up doing what I was doing tonight, which was basically, okay, we've got this that needs to be used. What can we do with it? But I didn't have a lot of time, so I wasn't going to do like a pork roast. Had I thought about it 3 hours ago, I probably would have done a pork roast and then had my leftover pork from the pork roast to make stew for Sunday. Because Sunday I am planning on running around. I'm meeting up with a friend and we're hitting a really cool looking estate sale. Partly because we just want to kind of see the inside of the house. It looks really neat on the outside. But also because I saw books in the photos of the estate sale. I might be a little hyper focused right now. So dinner routines are one of those things of sometimes I just want to throw something together super fast. And like dinner tonight was about a half an hour from start to finish, not counting the cake. The cake was a whole other thing. But just like pork chop and sides was about a half an hour. Yeah, darn that does. Yeah, it could have been much worse. That sounds like that was the best possible outcome for that particular accident. Um, and it's one of those things of here I am. I'm talking about dinner, which is kind of this banal, inane thing, but there's also like oh gosh, yes, there's life that happens, and you realize that sometimes you should probably call your parents if you still can. Yes, I will have to call my dad. Sometimes he's listening, but I don't think he's listening tonight.
Shall I bring the cake?
I already brought it in here and showed them. Or, well, have you flipped it out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, come show them. Also, your Aunt Maranatha wants to say hi. So.
Okay.
Ooh, it looks like it came out pretty. So, there's our pineapple upside down cake. Made with fresh pineapple. Smells lovely.
Made with some rum as well.
It's made with some pineapple rum because he made pineapple rum by cutting up a fresh pineapple and pouring most of a bottle of dark rum over it.
That wasn't most of the bottle. That was only a jar full.
Well, it was enough to fill up over the pineapple, different pineapple. But when we made pineapple upside down cake with the rum infused pineapple that he'd made before, he didn't get any of it.
They ate it all.
Speaking of which, Jim, if you want pineapple upside down cake, drop on over.
How many viewers do you have?
I don't know how many viewers I have.
Live?
I will explain later. There were technical difficulties.
You could have gotten me.
It was literally happening as I was trying to go live, and since I was scheduled to start at 6, I just punted. OBS Studio was telling me that my driver, I updated it because it prompted me to update it, and then it wanted my drivers to update, and I'm going to have to figure that out because I don't know.
Restart your PC.
Probably.
That'll do it.
Probably, but I didn't have time. So I was just like, all right, punting, go straight onto YouTube and go live from there. Oh, hey, bring me those books that you bought today because I was telling them about it.
Which ones?
The symposium ones.
The symposium ones?
Just bring me the stack of books.
Which ones? I'll go get all 10 books, I guess.
He is funny. Yeah, no, cake. And darn, I'm glad you have somebody to talk to. I'm very grateful. I still have my see, he has a stack.
This isn't even all my books. I'll take it one.
Yeah, we have a Elements of Economics. So you're not going to be able to read that.
I don't think I can read that. It's a 1929
Doodles
book on economics that they gave to us for free when at the garage sale.
They handed this to us.
It was very nice. He was trying to give me all sorts of books on specialty stuff. He was trying to give me one on railroad cars, and I was like, I already picked out one she'll show you in a second.
So, hi, Mom. I'm glad you made it. I've been showing off old books, and Johan just brought me the books that he picked out at the yard sale today. And you will like this one. Economics author on this one was not, it's Fay, F-A-Y. Hang on a second. Here we go.
This is what I bought.
Oh, there's his adding machine. He's showing off his gadget.
It's from the 60s. I haven't looked into it much.
Well, if Mike hasn't read it and he wants to borrow it, I'm sure, or even for that matter, if Mike wants it, because we were handed it.
Oh, wait, you can give away my economics book.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm not giving away his
Okay,
economics
I want to
book.
look. I want to look through it once.
Mom, wait till you see this. I told him that this was one of my favorites when we were little, and so he picked this out.
I didn't pick it out. I just added it to the pile of books.
He added it to the pile of books. That's picking it out. So, for those of you that don't know, we used to read aloud to one another, my sister and my mom and I, and this is one of the ones that we read to each other. Oh, there we go. When I was little. 1951 copyright date on this. And the bits of paper you see trying to fall out of it, it still has part of its dust jacket, not all of it. But yeah, that's a nice old children's book. That one's mine. Oh, this one was amusing because I showed this to Law Dog and he was like, "Oh, that used to be my Bible." But this one's a 1960 edition. And I'm not quite sure what Johan has in mind, but he's shrugging.
Another one of it somewhere.
He basically was going at the stack of books. And okay, now these are the weird ones I was telling you guys about. That I'm like not really sure what he bought.
It's ceramics. It's material science.
Yes.
I have no idea what level of material science. And then there's another one that's like 3 in 1.
Yeah, this one is.
This one has 3 of them in it.
This one has 3 of them bound into it. So,
Let me grab one of these.
Ray, absolutely not. However, it will be an interesting glimpse into the thought at the time. Yes, he got blueprints.
We have no idea what they are except for some kind of cooling fin array.
Yes,
So,
he was having fun.
it's from Gustin Bacon from Kansas City, Missouri. Is there a date on it? No. It's a Plant 7 control fiber melting units general assembly showing flow through cooling fin modification.
And there is a date on it. This is the date right there.
Oh.
8/27/65. So
This is some kind of cooling system for, I'm assuming a power plant.
Frito pie sounds good. I may have to make that sometime soon.
But there's like a folder full of blueprints.
He bought a folder full of blueprints because he could.
Why not?
Actually, I think they'd probably make really interesting art. Frame them and hang them.
Which one's this one? Oh,
I'm
these are
curious about the date on that.
okay, let me check. So this is a radio manual. Just the radio manual, not a radio manual V. This is the 4th edition, 3rd printing, the radio manual by George E. Sterling. Dog, shut up. Shush. Copyright. 3rd edition. Wait, did I say 3rd edition?
Yes.
No, 4th edition, 3rd printing. 4th edition, 1950.
Okay.
This is a reprinting from 1954.
Right. They only needed one manual because they only had the one radio.
And then there's this radio service encyclopedia, which was a limited edition for $2.50. Real limited there, folks. And then where's the date on this?
It'll be there if it has one.
1937.
Okay.
Radio
That
Service
one is-
Encyclopedia from 1937.
So He has a haul of technical
Uh,
stuff. That one's mine. So I already
Oh,
showed
yeah.
him this. My desk is buried in books.
Isn't that the dream? I
There-
say
there
as I
was-
stick the pile of books on the rolling chair
On the
made out of book cloth.
Yes, on the chair next to the desk. There was an antique radio at that yard sale
Yeah, but why would I buy that? I already have
because
a.
you have manuals for it.
Whatever happened to the ham radio? Not the ham radio, the
The
handheld.
CB one?
The CV.
I have no idea.
I bought that.
You
Was
had
it in Ohio?
yes, you bought that at a flea market in Ohio, and then we found out that it was
Illegal to run, and Sanford said no, and I said yes, but Sanford said no, so I couldn't. It's one of those laws that they don't enforce.
Ray. That is exactly it. I like big books. Oh, so yes, this is evidently what happens when we find a stack of old books at a yard sale. We did not buy all of them that were the old books at the yard sale.
The only reason we even knew where this yard sale was because I took a wrong turn while going to go mow someone's lawn.
Mhm.
Okay, I missed the turn and then had to go around the block.
The one that I picked up that was interesting is a book that has no title.
There's no missing page.
There's no missing page. It literally
Yeah, that's just.
this is a library stamp. So there we go. Probably read it now. So there's a library stamp and the table of contents, and that's it. There's no missing pages. But when I looked at the table of contents, I realized that I wanted this.
Is this flipping the thing, or is everyone reading these backwards?
No, they tell me it's not mirrored. It's only mirrored when I'm seeing my feed.
Okay.
So I collect books on folklore and folk tales, mythology, fairy tales, and it started with Vulcan's Kittens. I was picking up books that would be more obscure tales that I could use in writing.
You can see my watch time.
And that has evolved over the years into I collect books on folklore, which is what this is. It took me a little while to realize it, but as I was looking at the introduction, it is the Texas Folklore Society. It is their collected tales from 1932.
This might not have a title because it might not have been an officially published book.
And that's the thing is, I think because of what's printed here, Tone the Bell Easy, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, but it doesn't have the author. But like, how would you describe this book?
It's collections of stories that are collected by different people and then recorded in here. So, like Folk Curing Among the Mexicans by Ruth Dodson.
Nice.
So there's going to be some interesting stuff in there.
Yeah, there really is nothing legible on here. There's evidence of stickers from a library,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like a stain in the front of the book.
So
Unless it had like cheap lettering, like a T-shirt would have, and just kind of washed off. I have no clue. No, 'cause, like these are all put in as well. No, yeah, no,
Yeah.
It's the same style as those books.
yeah, 1932. And then of course, this actually happened because the lady didn't have change for a 20.
And they were $2 a pop.
So
We
we
had 9
got
books.
one more book because that way we had enough books to be spending $20. And then they threw in an extra book for free.
Very kind people.
So I don't necessarily deliberately collect Tarzan, but sometimes it just falls into the stack.
So is this like the first one or something?
No, I
I
don't
don't know
which one.
Tarzan. I've seen the Tarzan movie, the Disney Tarzan movie.
Mhm.
Disney Tarzan.
There have been many Tarzan movies.
It's a guy in the jungle acting like a monkey. Right.
There's a reason for that. Ray, you're going to have to take that out of chat and write it all down somewhere. Or possibly record yourself singing it.
see the. I don't see. Why was it? Why was he a monkey in the woods?
Oh, because there was a shipwreck and his parents survived and
Wait, his parents did survive?
briefly, and then his mother
Oh.
delivered him, and his parents both died, and the great ape tribe, yeah,
Tribe, pack, collection.
family was passing through, and one of the great apes had lost her baby, and she found this human baby, and so she raised him. So he was
So
raised.
it really is very similar to the original. Not the. Yes, of course, the original.
Not
The,
even close to being the original.
It is very similar to being the Disney one, right?
Probably. I don't think I've seen the Disney one.
You've
So.
not seen the Disney one?
Mm-mm. No.
It's
Because I've read the original. So.
it's that, but what kills them is a jaguar, and they build a big house and a tree house, big tree house.
Well, there was a treehouse. There's definitely a lot of
Is Tarzan like what is it? Marvel that has that's continuity been the same since the 50s? Is all the books just building off of each other, or is it like different timelines, or what's going on there? Because that's why I'm never gonna get into Marvel or DC comics.
Because they
get way
change.
too complicated and they change.
Yeah.
Or they don't change, and they're like from 50 years back.
Tarzan's interesting because it's a very old story and it's been told so many times. It really hit the popular imagination. But Edgar Rice Burroughs wrote a bunch of Tarzan stories
You know,
after the
realistically,
first one.
he would
I don't
have
remember
never.
how many.
Tarzan would have never been able to speak English.
They go through teaching him how to talk.
Yes, but he wouldn't have been able to. Like the feral kids, you know.
Ah, I see what you're saying.
All those feral kids that they found over the years and found that they couldn't teach them to speak. Okay, maybe I don't know that one well enough, but I'm fairly certain they weren't able to teach them to speak.
I don't know. I'd have to look that up. So
Wikipedia.
I'm not going to look it up right now.
I know.
I mean, or you could just read the book.
Hey, what is the plot of the movie Beetlejuice?
Does Beetlejuice need to have a plot?
I don't even know what it's about.
You should watch the movie.
I remember seeing the movie one time in my life because the people on a bridge and then there's a guy with green hair.
Beetlejuice is strange, yes.
I can't remember anything else from it.
Okay.
Maybe someone's missing a head.
I think there's a disembodied shrunken head in Beetlejuice. Yes, exactly. Beetlejuice cannot be explained. I'm not even going to try. That and I've seen it once, so and a long time ago. So.
And then there's a guy in real life called Beetlejuice, which is
yes. Yes. Define real.
it's in personality. I guess it would have been online. A TV personality. What was that Wikipedia in?
I don't know what you were Wikipediaing.
I can't remember.
Feral children and can they be taught to speak?
Feral
So
children.
I guess now we'll just extend the live stream a little bit longer so we can all find out if feral children can be taught to speak.
Based on evidence from reports, we now know that it is almost impossible. Feral children found around 12 to 13 years of age are unable to learn speech after exposure. And it's from a thing that says, could Tarzan have ever spoken to Jane? So no, he wouldn't have. I don't know much about it, but it has to do with the brain development. It's why speaking to children is important.
Well, yeah, speaking to children is important.
As a children, your brain specializes for stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it wouldn't be able to gain the specialization to understand language.
You should read the original Tarzan, not go off the Disney movie. We have books.
He speaks to humans in the original Tarzan series, doesn't he?
Yes.
Okay, he wouldn't have been able to. How about that?
Brain development, you're out of luck talking to this crowd. That's my friend Ray speaking. All right, folks, I am going to go argue with my son some more about whether or not he should read Tarzan, which of course he should.
Yeah.
Yes, feral children do tend to die rather quickly after rescue. Um, but it's a strange thing, that whole complete deprivation. Well, yeah, John Carter of Mars, that should definitely, well, Princess of Mars first. And I do have that in paper.
Are you guys trying to set me up with a book list?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I read whatever I want.
Okay. So
And
what,
I swing from whatever I want to want. What am I reading right now?
what are you listening to?
Have spaceship will travel. I'm listening. I haven't read a book in a while.
You're still reading a book. So
They were making fun of me at work because I was like, I read the book, and they're like, no, your story time.
something wrong with that. Audiobooks are still reading the books. And yes, he is listening to Have Spaceship Will Travel.
And before that, H.G. Wells, not H.P. Lovecraft.
H.G.
and
Wells collection.
It was a collection,
Yes.
and there was some Sherlock Holmes in there, but Sherlock Holmes was difficult to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard to keep. It was just hard to keep my attention. And then before that was. Why do I just check on? Okay.
All right, folks. I am going to let you all go and talk to you next week. And
Oh, I saw my breath Wednesday morning when I got to work. So
fall
It's
has
getting
come
cold.
to North Texas. Good night.